Hey, Natasha here. If you're feeling like you're constantly behind or that things always seem to be out of reach, then this is for you. In this video, we're going to discuss how to maximize your top three currencies, which is time, money, and knowledge to your benefit so that you can scale your private practice and ultimately thrive. So if you've been finding my content helpful, I invite you to like, comment, subscribe, all the things. So when I had my private practice, it always seemed like I didn't have something. So it would be like on this endless loop of not having enough help, not having enough revenue, not having enough time. So if it wasn't one thing, then it was another. I'm sure many of you can relate. And if you can, feel free to let me know in the comments what you feel like you may not have enough of. So I want you to ask yourself, why do I feel in lack of blank, whatever it is? Is it time? Is it money? Is it something else? Is it systems? What is it? Ask yourself what it is. And then I want you to flip that and ask yourself, what am I in abundance of? Right? So we need to see the contrast of that. So I feel like that's going to be really good for you to reflect on as we dive in a little bit. And again, when we flip this into what we are in abundance of, it doesn't have to be business related, okay? Because I want you to think, because again, a lot of what I'm talking about, a lot of what is true is that your business and personal aren't necessarily separate. They are mirrors reflecting one another. So I want you to keep that in mind. Now, as we take a look here, I almost went without the stick figure, and then I realized that my board felt kind of naked without it. So I added her. And so what I did over here is I've got the positive and the negative sign. So the positive is what we're going to focus on in this video, because we're going to flip this, because the negative is what's not enough, what we feel like is not enough. And what typically happens as we kind of go through some of these is typically it'll be one thing. So the strategy and the idea is, and we're going to go through some examples, is when you are lacking or don't have enough of, right? One thing, you use those other two currencies or those other two areas to help you get that thing. Because again, we are in abundance of a lot of things. So we just have to shift and do a reframe of what we believe we perceive that we have and what we perceive that we don't have. We can have it all and we can do all the things. It's just the strategy and the mindset to get around that to get you there. So when we look at time being, I think, the biggest culprit. I know that was for me. I always felt like there was just 24 hours in the day was just not enough. So when we think of, we're lacking that time. So we think of then the other currencies, which is money and knowledge. So if we're lacking time, one of the biggest, I would say, the thing that pops into my head first to help with that time is some use of tech. And that is a big umbrella of so many different things, right? So that can be AI, that can be organizers and things that we've talked about in previous videos. So in order to achieve more time, this usually ends up being that we need to implement systems and automations and things of that nature, because lack of time typically will be lack of or too much of manual effort. So you are repeating things over and over and over again that don't need to be. Because when you think about it, and we're going to now, it'll bleed into money as well. But when we think of time, your time is the most valuable resource. And I've said this in previous videos, you can always make more money, but you cannot recreate more time. That time, once it's gone, it's gone. So time is always going to be first. How can you maximize your own time? Because when you think about then, when we get to money, how you're getting paid, if you're repeating certain tasks over and over again, that doesn't have to be done by you, you're essentially paying yourself pennies on the dollar to do something that you should be getting paid to do at a higher level of what only you can do or what is best done by you. So those repeated tasks can be delegated off to a real person, depending on what it is. You can outsource that, or you can automate it using tech, right? So using money and your knowledge of what it is that you need to get done and using those two currencies to get back what? Your time, right? So now going into money. So when we feel that we just don't have enough money, so even in my personal story, I shared that sometimes it was just not enough revenue. Okay, well, that's that's what's looking us dead in the face is just there's not enough of that. So what else can we look at? Time and knowledge. These are crucial. Time and knowledge, because your knowledge is power. So if you don't know enough about something, what can you do? You can learn about it, learning something new, as we talked about in like morning routines and other things like that. Learn something new, learn a new strategy, learn new tech, learn whatever it is in order to be able to make more money. Now, some people may argue and say you need more time to make more money, but I would say no, because that is not true. Because you do not need to put in more time, put in more work necessarily to make more money. You have to work smarter, not harder. So that would involve knowledge. So if you don't feel like you know something, learn about it or connect with other people who know more about it. That's how you also then collapse time instead of doing all this manual research yourself, because what is that going to do? That's going to eat up your time. But in this scenario, you have it, right? We're talking about money, but you see how, again, all of these lead together. Everything is connected. So you have to really think about this is your prime real estate when it comes to your personal life and your business. Because if you're lacking time and money, how is that not going to bleed into your personal life, especially the time piece? So this is all actually for your well-being. If you haven't thought about it that way, I hope you do now, because this is key. So in order to make more money, that means taking a load off somewhere. And sometimes, depending on how you've laid out your business, if say you have a bigger team or you are outsourcing, you may have to look at dialing some of those pieces back, which may seem counterintuitive to what I just said about time, but these are completely different scenarios. And sometimes the other piece of this is some people may hire too many people or spending too much money on things that can be done, either consolidated into one person, one piece of tech, because sometimes we are using 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces of tech or software systems. We can consolidate with a lower rate with one app or tech piece and eliminate all these other subscriptions. Because that, when it comes to money, is sometimes hidden costs and things that we're not even looking at. So it's always good when it's a money thing. And revenue is one piece of it, but it's our expenses that we tend to not look at with a fine tooth comb that we should, because sometimes we could be leaving money on the table and or we are not looking at what's actually coming out of the business. And a lot of times, the simplest thing is to consolidate some things. If you feel like your expenses are too high and don't match, or doesn't give you good margins with what the revenue that you are bringing in. Because at the end of the day, obviously, we know as business owners, there are expenses. So you need to be able to cover your own expenses and still generate revenue. Now, knowledge. I am a lifelong learner. I think that if it didn't cost me so much to go to school, I'd probably still be in school. I love learning and I love asking questions. So when it comes to knowledge, if we are lacking knowledge in something, that could be if it's, you want to niche down and pick a niche, or you want to branch out, say it's a location, you want to branch out into other populations, or you want to add on different disciplines in your own practice, maybe you're lacking some knowledge. So what can you use, right? Time and money. If you have an abundance of those or more of those, because again, this is a lot of it's perceptual, how can you use those to help you gain knowledge faster in order to make informed decisions, in order to then expand your business or whatever it is that you want to do within your practice? So great ways is, again, you can use AI for this. This will help if you use, Chat GPT or anything else. Those are great systems to help problem solve and troubleshoot bigger ideas or bigger problems. So you can go, put in, I like to talk to it. I type sometimes, so sometimes it's easier for me because I'm an external processor that I just kind of do like this brain dump into chat and say, these are all my ideas, or this is what I'm thinking. And then it helps to just like organize my thoughts sometimes when I have this big idea. And then I'll take pieces of it that, make sense to me, but I don't take everything at face value because again, it's just AI, but it helps me to collapse time or organize my ideas. So using that to save time and also save money, because when we think about that, if we just go in and kind of do it yourself kind of thing, and we don't have enough knowledge behind it, that is where a lot of either time and or money can be wasted, or that could have been used for something else had we done the research and gained the knowledge to be able to make, again, those informed decisions or more strategic decisions for your particular business. Because again, not every business is the same. So what might work for, Mary over here and Joe over here, it may not work for your business because of so many different variables. So you need to do the research and you need to gain knowledge to do those things. So the next that I wrote in is, or that I didn't, I'm sorry, write in is focus. I was going to shorten it, but then I realized you probably won't be able to see it. Focus and attention. So I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but a lot of this is perception. So when we look at time, money, and knowledge, sometimes it's the reframe. So if we're focusing our time, our focus and our attention is on the lack of over here. We don't have this. I don't have enough revenue, or I don't have enough time, and I don't know anything about that. Therefore, I can't do the thing. Well, that's why you're stuck. That is why you're not maximizing your currencies. And if you're not maximizing what you do have, like I told you then to flip it with the questions earlier, you have to shift your focus and attention on what you do want and be solution focused and be problem aware enough to be like, hey, I need to get more knowledge. So it might take me a little bit of money, but you know what? I'm going to collapse time and I'm going to get what it is that I want. Therefore, you will be clear on what it is that you do want and how you're going to execute. So you have to get clear, but you have to shift your focus and attention off of the problem onto what it is that you want and what it is that you want to see, because that is your goal, right? And then again, how we talked about in previous videos, how do you close that gap is then taking those aligned actions. But when we're stuck on not enoughness, so we don't have enough of this and we don't have enough of that, you're going to continue to get not enough of this and not enough of that, and you're not going to make those moves, and nothing's going to happen. Therefore, you feel stuck. But it's all perception. So shift your focus and attention. And then the last one, for some of you out there that are like, this sounds great and all, but if you feel like you lack all three, say you're watching me and you're going, okay, but if I don't have time and I don't have, money and I just don't know enough. So I'm gonna say it again. You don't lack anything. You don't. You're perceiving that you are lacking something, but you're not. Go back to the original reflection question. What are you in an abundance of? Okay. You obviously have some form of Wi-Fi or a hotspot, right? So you have internet. You're probably on your phone. You have a cell phone, so you can call people. You have the internet. You can search things. You can Google things. You can create things. You're connected to communities and the rest of the world. That is all an abundance of all these things that you do have. You do have the capability to gain knowledge. If you have a phone, you're spending money on it, so you have money, and you have time to be scrolling and watching YouTube, so you have time. It's all about perception. So you are lacking nothing. So You do not lack all three. But if that's what you're thinking, that's what I want to share with you is that you're not lacking anything. You're wearing clothes, aren't you? You've got food in the fridge. Maybe you're eating something right now. So you are in abundance of a lot of things. So again, shifting that focus and you can maximize those top three currencies. You're not short on any of those things. And if you are feeling short on time, I've just given you some strategies and some reframes to fix that as soon as now, because the time is always now. So if you want to make a change, do it now. You need to learn something, take action on it now. You can do a quick YouTube search for it right now. I mean, we're in a day and age where you literally have so much information at your fingertips, and a majority of it is free. But for some unique things or things that are specific to your business, yeah, you might have to spend a little bit of money on it, but do your research first and make sure that it's what it is that you're looking for. Be clear on what it is that you want. And then that's how you're going to collapse time. You're going to gain knowledge and you're not going to be wasting money. You're investing into your business to gain back that time that you can for the whole rest of your entire life here, your personal life, that get you back to spending time with your family, doing things for you, not working, day in, day out all day and getting time back. These are the things. So maximize your three currencies and just realize that if you're ever feeling like you're not enoughness, just know that you are in abundance of a lot of things and you just have to shift to that solution focus and your focus and attention on what you do have and where it is that you want to go. So I hope that you have found this helpful. Again, if you're finding my content helpful, please share, like, subscribe. Feel free to check out my Are You the Bottleneck quiz. It's 2 minutes. Once you do it, you get a curated false evidence appearing real, my podcast curated playlist based on your results, which is super helpful. And I've gotten great feedback on it. And until next time, I'll see you in my next video.